Good morning. Happy Monday. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Today, another podcast to talk to you about. I do have a nutrition topic to talk about, which I'm very excited to talk about. Sorry, I'm moving my laptop, my computer, so I can look at the camera while also having my notes written here. Because I decided I'm going to have a little bit of segmentation today. Is it segmentation? Is that the word? Maybe it's not segmentation. A list, instructions, whatever you want to call them, so I know what I'm actually talking about to you guys. So I'm not just going on random, just losing the plot and talking about anything. So today I want to talk to you guys about how to take away food focus, how to get through a binge if you do have a binge, or get through the overeating period, and how to make this, I don't want to say make it more normal, because that's not kind of the goal, but how to make it less stressful on your life overall. Because a lot of people, they tend, we including myself, what we used to do, we'd put a lot of emphasis on this overeating thing, and the guilt, and the bad feeling, and the regret, and the hating yourself afterwards, and all these things. And it's like, there's actually a very easy way to overcome this type of stuff. Sorry, I don't want to say very easy, very simple way to overcome this type of stuff, by just practicing some things that I want to share with you guys today. Because again, speaking from experience, someone who's been able to overcome this myself and been able to help clients overcome this, I just want to share with you some tips, and some people will struggle with this, with what I give out, the advice I give out in regards to trying to put it into something applicable. So if you are going to struggle with this, honestly, I'm just going to tell you now, hire me or hire someone who is educated in coaching, okay? Don't hire someone who's just gonna fucking give you macros, okay? Get someone who has lived what you've lived, so that way they can help you come out of it, or go and see a specialist. Two things if you can't do this yourself, all right? Just want to put it out there. So basically, I had a client that came to me. I get a fair few clients that come to me who have bad food relationships, okay? And it's usually a binge restrict relationship. It's either overeating, overcompensating by undereating, and can't stop binging. The first thing I do, which I recommend that you do, is to stop dieting, okay? Stop dieting, full stop. Because you are not going to fix the issue by getting leaner or by trying to restrict food, okay? Restriction is not going to fix the problem. You need to understand that. Because everyone thinks, no, I just got to get this weight off, then this, or no, it's not then. It's fix this fucking issue first by not dieting, all right? Any person who comes to me who struggles with this, as soon as I give them a proper maintenance calories, and you guys know how I calculate maintenance calories, I give them these calories, everyone says, oh, that seems like a lot of food. And I say, yes. It does seem like a lot of food. Yet every single person who starts following those amount of calories stops their binging, okay? They just stop it, okay? And I'm not some magic maker. I'm not like, oh, nah, this fixes everyone's problems. Because people who have psychological issues in regards to, they're using this as, using food as like a therapy, that's not just like typical patterns that I see, I'm not going to fucking take them on, because that is way outside of my scope of practice. But the people who come to me who have these issues usually just comes from over restriction, okay? Trying to diet too much, chasing too many, having too much of a strict mentality, body composition issues and mentality. So I can fix a lot of these things by just taking people out of the diet period, And it's funny because I'm coaching them and I tell them this is what's going to happen, they will listen. For someone to say they're going to do it by themselves, a lot of people don't do it by themselves. And that's why they actually reach out to me for coaching. Like, hey, I know I have the knowledge, I just can't apply it, okay? So I had a client, she was struggling with this for ages, all right? And I said to her, look, are you going to be okay with not trying to diet anytime soon? She goes, yes, I know I need to be able to fix this. I said, all right, great, let's do it. So I gave them the calories. She's like, okay, I'm just going to trust you. Look, I know it's scary, I'm just going to trust you. A week later, no binges. Sweet. 2 weeks later, no binges. All right. Third week, she had a binge. And she's like, oh, fuck, I fell off track. I feel really bad because I was going so well. And I'm like, hey, it's not about falling off track. There's no rush here. We're not on a certain track by a certain time zone. There is no end to this. There's no finish line that you have to be done by this end date, right? We want to take away these ideas that you have to be X weight by X time, or you're going to be fixed and fixed, quote unquote, in a month of doing this. There's no fucking timeline, no criteria. Everyone's going to be different. All your goal is to do is to take away food focus, okay? Reduce the amount of times you are binging. So let's say you're binging once a week. if you've then gone from once a week to once every 2 weeks or once every 3 weeks, that is massive progress, okay? All you're trying to do at the start is by taking away the food focus, by giving you more food and taking away restrictions, it's going to prolong that time period between the binges. And that's the most important thing. When I start to see clients binging less and less frequently, or again, when's the last time we even talked about you falling off track and binging? It's fucking ages ago. That's when I know they're in a better place. And it all comes down to giving them more food, okay? Because so many people, they have this binge restrict mentality. They overeat, then they try and undereat. Or they try and undereat and also over-exercise. And they try and math it out in the rest. Oh, okay, but it's Tuesday and I overate this many calories today. So by the rest of the week, if I still want to be in a 500 calorie deficit, or I still want to be in a 300 calorie deficit, then I've got to eat this tomorrow and be like this, or I'm going to try and burn this many calories on the treadmill. It's like, no, you don't do that shit, okay? That is why you can't get out of this cycle if you do that stuff. To change, you've got to change. And if you keep doing the same thing, you're going to be stuck in it. And then what people do is they go, all right, okay, like, you decide tomorrow's the time I'm going to change everything. From tomorrow, everything's going to be on track. And then what happens? A week later, you do the same shit and you end up going to buy all these things that you're going to binge on. And you're like, all right, well, I'm going to have this stuff today. And then tomorrow, that's it. No more buying stuff. No more doing this. Tomorrow's the time I really put my foot down. And you fucking lie to yourself and you do the thing again and again. So with this, we want to change all of that mentality, okay? Firstly, again, increasing your calories and not having a dieting mentality is the best thing you can do. A lot of people aren't going to accept that. Well, fucking fine. Do you want to keep doing the same shit you're doing? Be in pain? Because the thing is, right, people would rather stay in pain than know the uncomfortableness of change. It's everywhere. People would rather stay where they are in a certain amount of pain rather than the change that could happen, because people don't like the unknown. They would rather stay comfortably uncomfortable than go to somewhere they're not used to. They don't know what's going to be happening. It's the unknown. It's the fear. And it's like, fuck, man. Like, you can get stuck in this for ages. I got stuck in this for 3 fucking years, But at some point, you're going to be like, I'm fucking sick of this. I'm going to change something. And this is why I want to share it with you guys, because you can do this, all right? Now, the hard thing is people are going to be listening to this and like, oh, yeah, but summer's coming up. Oh, fuck, I'll do this at another time. There's always an excuse. Something's always coming up. There's always going to be an excuse for you to be like, no, I'll just diet now and then or I'll just do this and then. There's no fucking and then, okay? You can keep trying to make excuses. You can keep trying to find other things to do. But I'm telling you, if you do not commit to this, you will not change your fucking habits. And God, let's just say, all right, God forbid, this summer, you decide that you're going to work on this and you do not get as lean as you want for summer, all right? How is that in any way going to affect your lifestyle with your friends, with your family, with anything? Let's say you didn't lose the weight you want to lose. What's going to change? Because sometimes, again, people don't know the unknown. Like, oh, well, no, I want to look good for summer. Okay, well then what if you write down the worst case scenario? Imagine you weren't as lean as you wanted to be this summer, or you didn't look as good as you wanted to look this summer. What's the worst case scenario? Fucking write out the worst case scenario. Think about it. What is the worst that could happen? I'm trying to think of what's the fucking worst thing that can happen to someone? Nothing. All right? Or, people aren't going to notice me on the beach. No one's fucking getting people's numbers on the beach. I don't know where, again, we all want to look confident with our shirt off. We all want to look good on the beach. Okay, cool. But bro, I don't think I've ever approached someone on the beach and be like, hey, you're fucking good looking. Can I get your number? I've never been approached on the beach and be like, oh, hey, you've got a fucking rig. Can I get your number? I don't think anyone listening to this has. I don't think pickup is where the beach is happening. Where does most pickup happen for the most part? Where you're out having drinks, socializing, clothes on, most likely. Yes, I assume so. There's probably time and places where you might be no, it's actually mostly clothes on. Let's just be real. Again, trying to think about pickup. It happens fucking in social settings that are not at the beach, Even if you meet someone, whether they're walking their dog, whether you run past someone, let's just say in the shops and you start chatting or whatever, you got your clothes on, okay? So having this whole, I want to look amazing for summer because of the beach or whatever, it's I don't understand why. Again, someone want to tell me what, if someone else wants to mention me and be like, oh, well, the worst case scenario for me is this, this, and this. It's like, okay, well, you might have a valid reason. But if it's just on that physique side of things, that's not a fucking valid reason. And again, imagine, God forbid, you decide 2023, this summer, I'm not going to look my best because I want to focus on my food relationship. You've got the rest of your fucking life to fix, like when you fix your food relationship now, you got the rest of your life to actually feel good for the rest of the summers. Because when you fix your food relationship, you can then diet successfully. You can then go about your life in a better headspace. You can do that, but you can't do it until you go through the pain of not losing weight and actually increasing your food intake. And it's painful to do because, again, people start to freak out. They think they're going to gain weight. No one wants to gain weight. Everyone thinks, oh, I'm getting bloated. I'm going to be overeating. I'm going to do, and it's just like, again, what's the worst case that could happen for 2 weeks if you did this? Like, think about 2 weeks, all right? Imagine for 2 weeks, you ate more than you thought you should just to maintain your weight. You followed the number, but you didn't binge in 2 weeks, all right? What do you think would have a worse mental impact for you, and just overall in general, if you, let's say you're binging 1 to 3 times a week and you went down to 0 times a week because you were eating more calories overall. So instead of having like days where you're 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 calories, you're just eating 2,500 calories from Monday to Sunday, let's say. So you're having no fluctuations, you're having no massive ups and no massive downs. You're actually probably sleeping better. You're less food focused. You're feeling better overall. You're probably noticing that you're full more and you're not having that urge to binge. That's a pretty good fucking scenario, I would think. What's the worst case that happens? You think you need to be eating 2,000 and you've been recommended 2,500, okay? Now, we know, let's say, if you want to lose half a kilo, you need to be in a 500 calorie deficit a week. So if you eat 500 calories more than your estimate maintenance, let's just say it is 500 calories more than you think you should be eating. Instead of losing half a kilo a week or maintaining, you gain 1 kilo in 2 weeks. All right. Worst case scenario, 1 fucking kilo. Okay. 1 kilo. Because you're not going to be eating above fucking, 500 calories of a predicted maintenance. There's no way we're going to miss math at that much. 1 kilo in 2 weeks. What is going to happen if you gain a kilo in 2 weeks? Again, give me the worst case scenario. Think for yourself. What's the worst case scenario that can happen? I just gave you the worst case scenario. It's fucking 1 kilo, Oh, but then if I start to eat more, then what if I binge? What if? Okay, what if you start to eat more, then what if you binge? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? You're going to keep gaining weight? No, because I'm telling you right now, when you do this and you start to eat more food, you are going to be full. The reason most people binge isn't because they're full. It's because you're trying to fucking restrict food. You have these rules in place. You have an urge for something that you want that you've cut out, and then you end up having it and you overeat, usually, right? Or something triggers you. But it's never to the point that you're satisfied with food that you then go and binge. It's always something where it's some type of deprivation, or I can't have that, or I shouldn't have that, or I'm just going to hold on, I'm going to push away this, and then all of a sudden it happens, okay? So it's like, just try something different for 2 weeks. Again, if it doesn't work in 2 weeks, call me wrong. Message me, tell me I'm a liar, tell me that I fucked it up, tell me that I ruined everything, and I'll publicly post it and say, hey, I shouldn't be talking about this anymore. Because I guarantee you, taking away the food focus by eating more food is what you need to do, okay? And also along with that, when you start to have more food, you're actually gonna have to eat proper meals during the day. Because another thing that people have issues with is the fucking restriction in the morning and the day because they're scared about nighttime with food. People are like, oh, what if I don't have enough calories for dinner? What if I want to make sure that I'm going to go to bed full. I don't want to have, low calories for dinner. And then again, the question is like, what happens if you have low calories for dinner and dessert? Like, what happens? What's the worst case? You're going to go to bed hungry? Is that the worst case scenario? You're going to go to bed hungry? Or, okay, let's say you eat more during the day, and then you're like, oh yeah, but then what if I end up binging at nighttime? What if you do end up binging at nighttime? Okay? But here's the thing. When you eat more food during the day, you're actually going to be fuller coming into your dinner, and your dinner is not going to be as big. But because you're always under eating during the day and then trying to eat more at nighttime, and you're used to feeling full, but you're going into dinner being hungry, that's what the issue is. If you eat more food during the day, you're going to be fuller towards dinner time, which means you're going to have a smaller meal overall and you're going to be satisfied. Does it sound counterintuitive? No, but like you're probably scared to do it because you're so used to saving calories, overeating at nighttime, eating a big meal, possibly overeating because you've been restricting all day. And then you're like, okay, well, tomorrow I'm just going to eat a lower calorie breakfast. I'm going to eat a lower, and the same thing happens. Train yourself to eat more food during the day. And when you're at maintenance calories, you will have to do that. And when you have to do that, you will again realize, oh, I'm actually not binge eating at nighttime because you're satisfied. Like if you're always doing a lot of exercise, a lot of movement, everything during the day, depriving yourself, and then you try, you're going to go to dinner hungry. Of course you're fucking going to have dinner hungry. Of course you're not going to feel satisfied after dinner because you've been depriving yourself all day and because you're used to doing this every fucking day. It's just what it is. It becomes a habit. So change that by eating more food. Again, this is how you get out of this. I'm telling you. Like I know, again, if it's going to be challenging, I've got coaching available, all right? There are therapists available. And I bet you 100%, this is the little tricky line, okay? Sometimes when you go and see a therapist about this, especially about food, they're probably going to try and look into your past. They're going to ask you about your past and stuff like that. Look, if you're someone who never had issues and then all of a sudden it's become an issue with food, it's most likely not about your past, okay? If you've grown up your whole life with this, and again, it could have been something that triggered you when you were younger, most likely. But a lot of people who come to me, I ask them, hey, tell me about your history. Oh, well, I was good, I was fit, I used to do this, or, I was never a lean kid, blah, blah. There's nothing about an eating behavior that kind of came up. Yet then when they get into the health and fitness side of things, oh, okay, this is when it's happened. Great, cool. So it's about this knowledge that's caused some issues about restrictiveness and stuff like that, so we know how to work with this. Right? Well, sorry, I know how to work with this because the same thing happened to me. It wasn't because my childhood something happened that was traumatic or, I used it as an emotional mechanism. I used it because I was just fucked up in the head from following all these people online and getting into a bad headspace, which most people are also like that. They're too strict, they're too diligent, they have too many rules, they're too obsessive about their physique and their food, and the too obsessiveness is what caused them to have issues. So we just take away that shit, all right? So eating maintenance calories, number one, is the best way you can do it. Number two, eating frequently throughout the day is also a great way to go about it. Number three, do not be specific with exact macros, exact calories. There's nothing fucking exact you need to worry about. Give yourself just a calorie range, okay? You're like, oh, okay, my maintenance is 2,500. Well, guess what, okay? It's not a pass or fail if you hit 2,500. The goal should be around 2,500. Give yourself 2,650 to 2,400, okay? And do not aim for the lower number just to try and restrict. Give yourself some wiggle room because I'm telling you right now, the less rigidity you have, the more likely you are to stick to it. Funnily enough, things that aren't, I'm trying to think of the word I'm trying to emphasize here. You ever notice, I'm trying to think about another way I can explain this. We all have friends. My partner is this person. When they finish eating and they're full and they don't finish their meal, they just say they're full. There's no like trying to shove down that last bit of meal, all right, that last bit of food, which people like ourselves will finish that plate, okay? There's no like, you're like, wait, what? You're full, there's still food on the plate. Like, yeah, I don't want to eat that. Like, what do you mean? You don't want to eat it, you're just going to stop? Like, it sounds fucking ridiculous, right? And these people just go about their life, okay? And then these people will indulge. You'll see them indulge in stuff, but then they just go about their life. So they have these habits, these behaviors that they're just like, thankfully they have these behaviors that are just ingrained in them where there's no obsessiveness with what they eat. If they overeat one day, they're not thinking, I need to compensate and undereat the next day. They're just probably naturally a little bit less hungry the following day. And they get along and they just move and they just do what they've got to do. And these people are the ones that are always weight neutral. We're not talking about overweight people. We're talking about people who are always weight neutral. There's people that sit between a 2 kilo range. We've all got those friends that do it, or a family member, whatever it is. And like, that doesn't matter what the fuck they do. You're like, oh, they just, like, they're not super fit. They're not unfit. They might do fitness or not, but you just see them. They're always looking roughly the same. There's not massive weight fluctuations or anything like that. They're not doing all these diets. They just kind of fucking live to live, basically. And it's like, these people have this stuff that we're trying to teach, okay? They don't beat themselves up if they overeat. Like, at Christmas time with the rest of my family, none of my family's like, oh, fuck, oh man, that's like 3 days worth of food. I got to go and do this. I got to go burn it off. Like no one fucking does anything. The family has like a few days where they eat a little bit more and then they go back to normal. And if they feel that, that, oh fuck, if dad or mum notices something, what do? They don't like, oh, I got to go on a diet. They just like fucking don't eat some shit for a few days. Like they just pay attention, okay? To like what their hunger is, and if they're not hungry, they just forget to eat. Like there are normal people out there that do that. And again, it's like, it fucking seems crazy when we think about it. But because we get so into this tracking MyFitnessPal and having perfect macros and all these rules, you create your own fucking neurosis at the end of the day. And it's like, you have less rules, you actually become less obsessed about this. It's like when people come to me and I give them a calorie range for their maintenance, I give them a protein range, I let them take the brakes off. I show them, hey, you've got a guideline, but we're not fucking being rigid. And guess what? People become better with their relationship with food. I've got another client right now. She doesn't believe me that her weight has gone down 3 weeks in a row eating more food than she's ever used to. And she's like, oh, you know what? It's because I'm not having massive binges every time and all the time. And I'm like, exactly. She's like, I don't feel the need to binge. I don't have the urge to overeat because I'm eating so much food. I just don't even think about food. I'm like, yes, this is what it should feel like. And this just comes from eating more calories, okay? So like, I want, like, again, like give yourself a range of calories. Not like I need to hit this amount of calories and this amount of protein and this. You need to take this shit away. You have a calorie goal, you have a protein range, okay? Aim for that, for those of you that are still gonna track, aim for that minimum. 1.6 grams per 1.6 grams per kilogram protein. If you go over that, fantastic. You don't need the fucking, it's like, I say usually 1.6 to 2.2. If you go over 2.2, I don't give a shit. Go over it. Just hit the minimum protein target. Have a calorie range, okay? Then do not weigh yourself. Do not track everything to the gram. Learn to be a little less fucking neurotic. And you're going to show yourself that you can stick to things easier, because every time you cause more stress about something, that's when it becomes an issue. A perfect example that I want to talk to you guys about is sleep. How many of you use sleep trackers? How many of you probably slept actually pretty fine or sleep pretty good when you didn't use your sleep tracker? But now when you look at your sleep tracker, you're like, oh no, well fuck, I only got this amount of time. Or because like, it's hard because knowledge is power, but at the same time, your knowledge can be your fucking demise too. Like, oh, I'm supposed to sleep 7 to 9 hours tonight, and oh shit, I've got to be asleep within the next 4 minutes, otherwise it's going to be less than 7.5 hours, and then I'm not going to get my full fucking REM, because Andrew Huberman says that I've got to be able to get these 90-minute REM cycles, and if I don't, and then it's like, okay, cool, well, you've just caused yourself more issues by stressing about this in bed, and now you're a fucking insomniac by stressing about this. You know what? You have the knowledge, I should be sleeping like this. Okay, cool. Some nights, great, you're going to get it, other nights, you're not. The same thing with food. Okay, I should be getting 2 grams per kilogram of protein a day. Well, guess what? Some days you're probably going to get less, and that's okay. Because when we take the rigidity out, when we relax a little bit more, when you're able to just to have some simple guidelines, it makes life a lot fucking easier to stress about. And guess what? Like I said, you're going to get results. It is crazy. It is very weirdly counterintuitive, because you're like, no, I need to focus on all this stuff. And it's like, what if we focused less on it? What if we actually, stood away and didn't do as much? When I tell clients, hey, we're not going to weigh you. Oh, all of a sudden you start to adhere more when you don't weigh yourself as often, because you're letting this fucking thing on the ground dictate whether you should eat more or less today, right? Or like, again, like when I say to clients, don't look at the weight. Let's just hide the weight for a second. Look at your measurements. Oh, I'm so happy. Okay, let's look at your weight. Oh my God, fuck, I must be, how is this happening? I'm like, what the fuck, man? You were literally happy 2 seconds ago. Another example, I had a friend, an old client who's still a friend. She messaged me. She's gone and seen another in-person PT, because I'm obviously not in person. And she's like, hey, he's pretty strict with his calories. I'm still following it. Cool. And I was like, and she was saying, she's like, oh, I want to be able to enjoy some stuff. She's like, I wish I could have a croissant. And I was like, why can't you have a croissant? She's like, oh, he's pretty strict with the calories and stuff like that. And I was like, 1 croissant is what you want to be able to have. You can have that on a weekend, and it might make you have a little bit more calories on that day. Or again, you maneuver calories around, but you could have that if you wanted to. No, I'm gonna follow what he says. Okay, cool. She binged because of that. I was like, all right, well, there you go. You fucking caused too much restriction, you know? God forbid you can't have a fucking croissant in your diet. Jesus Christ. Now, again, you can't have everything, but there's a fucking lot of things you can have in there that you're able to manage. It's like, stop creating these stupid rules for yourself or listening to other people. Like, oh, I shouldn't be having that. No, can't have that. Oh, like, again, can you drink fucking every Saturday night and get absolutely wrecked? No. Can you eat Uber Eats for every fucking meal of your life? No. Like, there are guidelines. There are not strict rules, okay? And so with this, what people realize, oh, when there's less rigidity, it is less stressful. When there's less stress, it's easier to manage. Imagine thinking about 2 things or thinking about 30 fucking things. With like yourself, you've got a job, you might have kids, you have a partner, you have a life outside of the gym. You've got these fucking people on Instagram whose life is they're either single or they have a fitfluencer, also partner. They might have a fucking dog. They live in the Gold Coast most likely. They have no fucking responsibility except for training clients during the day and giving advice and recording their own workouts and their recipes. And they're telling you that you've got to do fucking 60 different things. Interesting. You, someone who is overworked, overbusy, trying to just look after your health, thinking that you have to do these fucking 50 other things that these people do. You don't, all right? You don't. And I'm telling you right now, I want you to trust me. I want you, for those of you that, like, you know, still struggling with this, just trust me and try it for 2 weeks. Again, what's the worst case scenario that could happen? What's the worst case? I've asked you this. Think about it. 2 weeks. If you were just to stop dieting, if you were to start eating more food, okay? Predictive maintenance. If you were to stop focusing so much on exact calorie goals and exact macro goals. If when you overate, you didn't try and compensate the next day. If you overeat, you don't do anything. You just get on with it the next day, okay? There's no extra exercise. There's no undereating. There's nothing. You just keep getting on with your day. It was a normal day, okay? You just, nothing even happened. You don't think about what caused this. Why do I do this? Why can't I stop? None of that shit. You just be like, all right, it happened yesterday. Today, I'm just going to get back on track. It's what I tell every fucking client. There is no calorie cycling. There is no extra cardio to burn this fucking calories off. You just get on with it because you're not in a race. Okay, and if you have one day where you actually are a human and you overeat, which everyone does, you get back on track the next day and guess what happens? Absolutely fucking nothing. Most people who I've told, sorry, I don't want to say most people, clients who I tell when they overeat and I say get back on track, the majority of them, as long as it's not too close to the weekend because water retention's got to drop back off, if they ever overeat on a Monday to Wednesday usually, by Sunday, if they're still on track with everything else, they're always like, oh, I can't believe I saw results. Wow, yeah, because you're just not letting one day turn into a fucking shit show of 2 days, or again, trying to like ping pong your way between overeating and undereating, then you end up binging for like 3 days in a row because you fucking starved yourself the day over you overeat. So instead of overeating one day and then just getting on with it, you overeat one day, you fucking restrict the next day, you then cause yourself to bounce back up and overeat for a Thursday, Friday, Saturday because you can't stop yourself. You feel like shit. You're like, oh man, I fucking ruined it again. Change it. Do something different. When you overeat, you fucking get on with life. You keep eating at maintenance calories. You trust me for 2 solid weeks. That's all you've got to do. Do not weigh yourself. Take your measurements on a Sunday if you don't take your measurements so you don't freak yourself out. Because a lot of you are going to say, I feel puffy, I feel fluffy, I feel bloated, I feel like this isn't working, oh my God, my weight's going up. Okay, has anybody, like, let's just look at, again, has anyone ever online posted about me telling people to eat this much food and they've gained body fat? Anyone at all? Have you heard from anyone? No, because guess what? If I was fucking telling people to do this and it didn't work, do you think I would still have people following me, listening to me, posting their result of how successful they were? Do you think that would happen? Or do you think people would find out pretty quickly that I'm giving the fucking wrong advice and that people are actually gaining weight? And I would be out of the job very quickly. Let me tell you that, you know? Who the fuck is going to trust me if I tell people to do this and they do it and then they gain weight? I'm going to have no fucking business, am I? No one's going to want to work with me for the free advice I'm giving out. Imagine you listen to this, go and follow it, gain 5 kilos. You'd be like, this fucking guy, man, telling me fucking shit, and now I'm stuck with 5 kilos heavier. Never happened. Not going to happen. Because guess what? I want to fucking make an income helping people. I want to be renowned for helping people. So I'm going to give the right fucking advice, would you think? So there's nothing to lose here. Like, what is there to lose? Nothing. Except you're going to have to be uncomfortable doing this, all right? And I'm telling you the steps you need to take. Take your measurements every Sunday when you start this for the next 2 weeks, all right? Stick to your maintenance calories every fucking day. eat regularly throughout the day, okay, you're going to be scared. Keep going through the scarcity. I promise you, it's going to be okay. You're going to learn very quickly that your food focus will go down a lot, that your hunger will not be there, that you will not be overeating at nighttime, and you're going to be like, you're going to be feeling good, and you're still going to gaslight yourself and think, nah, I must be gaining weight. My clothes are feeling tighter. I'm feeling puffy, fluffy, bloated. All right, just keep doing it. Just keep doing it for that first week. Then weigh yourself, okay? No, sorry, do not weigh yourself, my fault. Then take your measurements, okay? Just take your measurements. You're going to take your measurements. Here's what's going to happen. Your waist is going to go down. I guarantee you that 95% of you, and those of you like, I must not be the 5%, well, fucking take your measurements. Your waist will go down. Why? I have no idea why the waist measurement goes down, to be honest. But actually, sorry, I do actually know. Because when you binge and you have so much food in your stomach is stretched, all right? So because now you're eating the same roughly amount of calories every day, what's going to happen is you're going to be regular. Okay? And you're gonna be like, oh, nah, surely this is wrong. My waist can't be down by 1 or 2 centimeters. Nah, this must be wrong. I must have measured in the wrong place. I want you to re-listen to this podcast when you also take your measurements, because you're gonna gaslight yourself and you say, oh, nah, not me. I'm the snowflake. I must have taken a measurement in the wrong place. No. And then you take your measure, you do the same thing. You don't change anything. You take your measurements next week and you're gonna be like, oh, nah, still, I don't, It's like people don't want to believe they can eat fucking more food. Out of like anything you do, why would you not want to eat more food? I don't understand it. Why would you not? Like, if you can eat more food and you can maintain your weight and maintain your measurements, why the fuck don't we want to do that? It's because you got this diet culture so fucking instilled in you that you have to eat such a small amount of food in order to lose weight or to look good or whatever. And it's like, fuck that shit, man. Let's actually eat food to fuel you, to feel good, to have energy, and then also to fucking make dieting easier. Like if I told you right now, hey, you can diet on 1,500 calories or you can diet on 2,000 calories. Who in the fuck would say 1,500 calories? Why? Why would you? Hey, you can diet easier, or you can diet harder. Both are going to result in the same result. Oh, sorry, you're going to get the same result, whether you follow point A or point B. One's just harder than the other. What would you prefer? The easier way, I would assume? Yeah, exactly. So make it easy for yourself by doing this. Because you follow this after 2 weeks, then you can message me, all right? If you are stressing out, oh, hey, Tyce, I don't know what to do now. It's actually worked for 2 weeks. That's what I feel like you guys are going to be messaging me. Hey, it's working, now what? Great, stick with it for another 2 weeks. Keep following it until you have no urges, you know? Not like, as in, you just don't really think about food anymore because there's always fucking food coming. There's no scarcity. There's no like, oh, what am I going to have for dinner? Because you have so much fucking food. When you're in a good place, then you're probably going to be in a much better place to diet, to be honest. Because when people are feeling good, pushing it in the gym, have more energy, sleeping better, not food focused, noticing they're not binging anymore, a big thing too, always feeling full, kind of getting sick of food, that's when I'm like, all right, now we can put you on a diet. Give yourself 2 to 4 weeks. Do not just give yourself 2 weeks and be like, okay, now I'm ready to diet, because most of you are going to need it. But I need you to trust me for 2 weeks and then you can continue doing it, okay? Remember what I said. Think of the worst case scenario in 2 weeks. What is the worst case scenario that could happen, okay? How is it going to negatively affect your life? Will you die? Will someone leave you? Will you get fired from your job? What is the worst case scenario? Because none of that shit's going to happen, okay? Again, worst case scenario, I said, you're in somehow a 500 calorie surplus and you gain body fat. You gain 1 kilo of body fat. Surprisingly, weirdly, no muscle mass is gained during this time. You just gain 1 kilo of pure body fat being in a 500 calorie somehow surplus. And if that's the case, I'll fucking coach you for free. If you come to me, you're like, I followed this, I ate maintenance, I stuck to it for 2 weeks, I did everything, and I gained body fat, and all my measurements went up by, all your measurements went up, give me a message. I will publicly post and say, I am sorry that I recommended this. I will coach this person for free. Because again, like, it's only here to help you guys, you know? Fuck, it makes me look good if you follow this and it works. Does it not? It makes me look fucking great. So I'm like, I want you guys to follow this. Again, I hope this is helpful. I hope they gave you a bit of a how-to of what you need to do going forwards. If you guys have any questions about this, you can ask me on Instagram at tysonthetrainerr with 2 R's. If you liked this and you think it needs to help more people, I would really appreciate you sharing this on Instagram. And again, just take 30 seconds to give me a review. A 5-star review if you liked it, just to say that you enjoy it, because it helps me reach more people. Cool. Speak to you guys next time.